Alright, in this video I wanted to talk about the Underworld Archfield armor. It's released as a golden gift box. I think they just took it. I'm going to double check. So I know this is a bit late, but they'll bring it back in the future if it's not here anymore. Let's see what we got. Yeah, it's not here, it looks like. And then we had the weapon, which eats bleeding for a boost to your main stat, and I can't remember if that's just it or if there's another. I think that's just it, or if there's a second stat. But basically, I'm not going to use it. Yeah, it's going to be good for damage, but essentially, what I'm going to talk about is I really feel like that the Underworld Archfield armor is a better Bloodmage. And if you think about it, the Bloodmage armor has a plus 50% spell damage feature. It's full offensive, and then there's a blood cost with its offense. So it has a high LE comp and all that stuff. If memory serves me correctly, both the attack and the spell that it has is a 2-hit, I think. But the Underworld Archfiend, some people don't like the Nulgath themed stuff, but I kind of like it personally. But I like using this stuff with the Mandate spell, and then you can use it with the Zalkos shield. But basically, this armor, let's see, you have prepare to make your foe bleed, and basically I think this is what LE locks 1.702 is your LE comp, and then this one is reducing your maximum health, so I think you get like a negative 50 endurance or something. But if you notice, you have plus 12.5 outgoing bleed damage, and then the weapon attacks locked to earth, and you deal 1.702. There should also be plus 30% to your attacks. So let's see here. I don't see that there. Unless they just killed that off. Let's see here. But basically, I've got the Gumdrop Scepter currently making enemies bleed. It says energy in the caption, but it's really earth. So then you just basically do your spell, and then you're going to have bleed from both. So you got 1.669 in this case. So the I think it used to say plus 30% in the caption, and now it doesn't. There it goes. Alright, so as you can see, you got Deathly Encroachment, so that's another 12.5% outgoing bleed damage and 30% outgoing weapon and spell damage. So the Bloodmage armor doesn't get the boost to its weapon attacks, but it gets the plus 50 to its spells, where this is saying plus 30% to outgoing weapon and spell damage. So it's kind of a more or less a split, a little bit more overall. And then you throw on the fact that it's doing bleed, and it has 2 different forms of bleed damage. Now the spell is 3 hits. We'll show it here. 1, 2, 3. No, it's 4 hits. So the spell is 4 hits. So it's going to maximize your bleed from the weapon, because I think it is per hit also. We'll check it right here. So we're up to 2.336 bleed, and it's basically plus 25 bleed damage. So in addition to the damage you just saw, I basically did almost 1200 in bleed damage. And then the weapon it comes with would eat, I think it's 1 power bleed, but I can't remember. And then you would get like a pretty big damage boost. And then your attacks are 3 hits as opposed to the Bloodmage's 2. So overall, I think it's more effective. You get a 4-hit spell versus 2, a 3-hit attack versus 2, and then you get all this bleed stuff on top. And I don't personally like hit point cost for most of my characters. I don't mind it so much on my endurance characters, but for sure on my non-endurance characters, I don't like it. At the end of the day, I really don't like it compared to normal costs. But no, I know a lot of people do, and I know it's just another way to pay for stuff, and that's fine. I think staff should always come up with new ways to pay for stuff instead of just going with the same few things. But at the end of the day, I think this is one of my favorite armors that's come out in a while. Like I said, you're just getting bleeds with pretty good damage. But one of the things that I like to do with it is actually, because it's a plus 30% and not like a multiplicative spellcaster lean, mandate spell. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to hop over to, so this is a spellcaster lean armor, and I'm going to cast mandate, and then I think mandate and this weapon both take a additive damage penalty. So what you're going to have is 0 damage, and it still inflicts, but it won't, I think it won't do the bleed part. It'll still, like, mandate will inflict the blinds and the chokes. So as you can see, 0 damage, blinds and chokes are still inflicting, but we're not getting bleed because it has to do greater than 0 damage. And that's where this armor comes in handy, because it offsets the additive damage penalty that's the combination of mandate and the gumdrop scepter, and it's actually going to do some damage, as you can see, and as a result will increase our bleed. So it's kind of a spellcaster armor, to be honest with you. It's plus 30% instead of times 37.5% basically. But it's also it's additive instead of like a multiplicative, which in this specific combination's case is you're at a better advantage. Let's see here, let's go ahead and do this. So let's say, hopefully the monster won't miss me here. We'll see what happens. So this specific shield, I'm gonna do that one more time. Basically, it's just like dodge bleed. So that should be high enough to mostly miss, especially since it's a lower level monster. And then you can just come back with this and really watch the bleed grow. We're up to 3.281. So now I'm using my pet and guest to replenish my resources, but I'm also inflicting bleed both offensively and defensively. So it climbs pretty quick. I've gotten like 7 and 8 power bleeds using this combination. Extremely fun armor. I know it's a bit late since it's gone, but just wanted to show off kind of what I like to do with it. Another thing you can do is get your bleed going, and then you can do Void Forged, and then use the Underworld Archfield weapon, and then kind of eat the bleed to enhance your damage with the Void, and it ends up being pretty crazy. But that's it for this video.